This is a video for a Honda CR-V. This is a 2.2 litre diesel executive with 62,713 miles. I'm just going to go around the car for you just to give you a kind of a brief look around the exterior of the car. Starting with the lenses on the front, all exactly as they should be. No cracks, no dents, no condensation in them. The bonnet is incredibly free of stone chipping. There's only the odd very minor one on there, in all honesty. Come around to the I'll do the offside of the car first. Offside front wing, can't see any blemishes on there, dents or otherwise. Front alloy, completely unmarked, no corrosion, no curbing. A Bridgestone dualer with absolutely tons of tread, looks virtually as new. And then down the side of the car here, very, very clean and crisp. The odd very, very light sort of brush mark, but you know, minuscule. I mean, just about see, they'd rub off in 2 seconds probably, but it's hardly anything. Matching Bridgestone on the back here, again alloy completely unmarked, no corrosion or otherwise, and again loads of tread there, must be at least 5mm, 4 or 5mm at least on there. Looking down the side there, very, very clean, crisp. Come around the back of the car. The car's fitted with parking sensors and they do work in the car. I've tried them out. Spare wheel covers all good and intact. The odd minor little mark on there, I did see one somewhere. There's a tiny little stone chip there. One there, but I mean minuscule. Just open the back of it here and you can see absolutely enormous boot area in very, very good condition. Nice little protector there, little tray, and obviously you've got a quick release tow bar on the car. Just mounted down there, so a nice high quality item there. Right, come to the near side of the vehicle now. Again, very, very clean down the side. There is one little indentation which I'll come to, which I've spotted. Rear wing's completely unmarked. Bridgestone tyre again. Alloy absolutely perfect, and tons and tons and tons of tread on that tyre as well. It's probably got 6 or 7mm at least. The only mark I saw on the exterior of this car of any note, which is hardly it, it's got the tiniest little dimple dent there, but that really is it. And I think someone just tapped the end of the wing mirror housing, but again you could just touch it in with a touch and brush in 2 seconds flat. But wing again on this side completely clear. Alloy absolutely superb, so all alloys, full set of matching tyres, really good sign on the car. I mean, it's got fantastic history which I'll come to in a second. But apart from just 1 or 2 very, very minor exterior blemishes, looking at a car in superb condition. I come to the back of the car now. Rear and near side door card, lovely condition there, no marks, skags or otherwise on there. Back of the passenger seat at the front there, lovely condition again. As with the driver's one, no marks on there at all. Quite often you see these sort of kicked about where kids have booted the back of the seats when they get annoyed with their parents, or at least mine do. Leatherwork in the back is in absolutely stunning condition. It just looks incredibly clean and crisp on the car, and you've got a huge amount of rear legroom on the vehicle. And bear in mind that these seats can also go forward on the runners, so you can add at least another sort of 5-6 inches of rear boot space there. Coming to the front of the car now, driver's door card again, very, very good condition. Sill area is all very nice. Driver's seats in absolutely superb condition, it really is. All the bolster work, leather work, hardly any wear at all on there. Got this little centre table that just pops down or pulls back up, stays in. Nice sort of little design there. And then passenger seat in the front there, absolutely spot on as well. Right, so inside the car now, just going to pan down here, just wanted to show you, we've got the full owner's manual pack for the vehicle and the original lock and wheel nut key with the car as well. The interior of the car is in absolutely super condition. Very well built car, lovely materials. Coming across here, the only thing that isn't standard on the vehicle and very common on these is no longer is there a sat nav. It's had a Honda radio fitted to the car with the proper blanking plate there for storage. The original sat navs, they're years out of date now, and you have to buy a disc every time, which costs 130 quid. But they were the only thing that was unreliable on the car, so most have been thrown away and those have been put in instead. Further down here, got a cool box in there, just pop that open, air conditioning's on, lovely ice cold air going into that cool box. So chuck your chocolates in there, forget about the diet. Climate control system, all fully functional, lovely high quality controls there. And then we've got your 6-speed manual gearbox lever there, and again in very, very fine order. Coming across the steering wheel, obviously a multifunction steering wheel, so we've got your cruise control functions on there. Coming down here, 62,713 miles. You can see engine's running. There's no warning lights on the car, just the low fuel light. Finally, just down here, controls for cruise control, VSA, vehicle stability assist, and your electric sunroof. Just going to pan up there while I do that, just to show it all working. Just tilt it there, close it, and slide it back. That all works exactly as it should. So finally on the car, an absolutely stunning service history. So we've got Honda services, we've got eight here, then some more of the page which we'll get to. We've got services at, rather ludicrously, 3,800, 6,100, 9,300, 12,000, 16,000, 18,000, 20,000, 23,000, 35,000, 43,000, 54,000, and we're just about to service out the car now at 62,700. So all in all, 12 service stamps in the book, or there will be by the time my mechanic finishes it this afternoon. You know, a absolutely stunning service history on the car. Right, this is a brief road test video for a Honda CR-V. This is a 2.2 diesel executive, so it's the top of the range car. Car is registered YX06XUN, and the mileage at the start of this brief road test, just to get it up on an odometer, is 62,706 miles. The reason we do these road tests is basically because we're now selling to customers from all over the near continent and the extremes of the UK, and we want people, whoops, a daisy, to see the video, so the car on video prior to coming to see us. So if there's anything I can report back to you on the vehicle, I can do so. The road tests are also done on exactly the same roads as you'll be driving the car yourself if you come and see the vehicle. Worth pointing out, the car's literally just arrived from the dealership where we bought the car from, and the driver was, you know, very, very happy with the drive of the vehicle on the way back to us. What I do is do it in the same kind of order you do it yourself. Starting with the engine, obviously very well known and very, you know, highly regarded diesel engine. This particular engine has been serviced absolutely beautifully. Got loads of Honda service history. Only the very last one was done by an independent garage. Yeah, I think there's about 7 or 8 Honda service stamps from memory before that, all done by the Honda dealers. But the engine, it starts absolutely on the button, runs very, very smoothly indeed. It's a very, very refined engine. Idles now just about 800 or just over RPM, absolutely rock solid. Clutch in, clutch out, there's no variance in the engine noise, there's no vibrations coming back through the engine. There's no warning lights on the dashboard apart from the low fuel light relating to the engine, or anything else on the car for that matter. But a really lovely unit, very smooth, very powerful, gives, you know, plenty of pull and grunt to it. You know, I've had numerous of these cars of this exact type, and you know, can vouch for just how well the engines pull. In my opinion, it's actually slightly more refined in this application than it is in the next generation. Might just be me, but I feel that there's kind of less engine noise comes back through the bulkhead. But that might just be a personal thing. But as an example of one, can't fault this engine. Engine then drives through clutch and through to the 6-speed gearbox on the car. The clutch is lovely and light in operation, very smooth. There's no squeaks from the clutch pedal. As I said, there's no change in engine note when the clutch is in or out, and it bites absolutely perfectly. Then goes through to this 6-speed manual gearbox, obviously a typical Honda gearbox, beautifully engineered, lovely precise gear changes, very, very, very nicely done as well. You won't get lost in the gearbox at all. It's just got that very high quality linkage that Honda do so well. You know, they managed to have a nice short throw without it being bulky. but you know, every gear change is just so easily found. And I'll just go through kind of the gears for fun really at the moment, but just to kind of demonstrate just how easy it is. But you know, that's 6th gear at 40 miles an hour, and it'll pull beautifully. But as I said, you just up and down the gears. Yeah, it just shows how other manufacturers should do it, and Honda does do it better than anybody. And as an example of this gearbox, I can't detect an ounce of wear in the linkage or the gear change or the synchro or anything else for that matter. It's a really lovely gearbox. So in terms of powertrain, you know, you simply won't fault the car at all. So driving along now, car tracks absolutely bullet straight. There's no vibration coming back through the steering wheel at all. Steering's very precise on these CR-Vs. It's got a very nicely done steering system on the car, and as I'm steering it, I'm kind of looking out for the things that everybody should look out for, which is just generally play in the steering of any car, which is, you know, the car's nearly 10 years old now, so it'd be expected it to show signs of age, but in reality it doesn't. It's the steering's beautifully precise. There's no hint of any noise from underneath. You know, likewise the suspension, very smooth riding, and not a clonk or a bang or a rattle from underneath the car. And again, you know, you'd expect on a car this age for, you know, suspension to show signs of wear, and the obvious candidates for that will be these little designed in weak points. You know, these anti-roll bar link arms sort of chatter away on cars that have been given a hard time, but there's nothing from underneath the car which shows that. And occasionally you get a little bit of suspension noise from these sort of, you know, suspension joints, and notably kind of top of the shock absorber struts, if you like, the actual mount points. But there's nothing. It's very tight indeed. It drives as well as any as I've ever driven. And as I point out in all my videos, you know, I'm not going to here to gloss over issues. If there's anything on the car that I think needs attending to, we will, and I do pick them up, and I up to this point I can't find anything. Just going to give the brakes a bit of a jab. Nice solid pedal, it's good, bites right to the top, and no pulsing, no grinding from the brake pedal at all. They seem as good as you'd ever expect them to be. So let me go over this road here, because it is a shocking road surface. Just if it's going to bring up any issues, it'll bring it up on this road here. Also, as I'm driving along, I am listening out for kind of wind noises that shouldn't be there, so you might get a little bit of kind of wind hiss if the windscreen's badly fitted or sunroof isn't fitted quite right. But all's good in here. There's, you know, it's as subdued as it should be for the, you know, the type of car it is. Looking inside the car now, we've got a very sort of classic CR-V dashboard, lovely high quality affair. There's not a squeak or a rattle from inside the vehicle anywhere. It's they're quite beautifully assembled machines, and the simplicity I absolutely love. Got little stowage areas over there, all plastics in fine order. The only thing that isn't standard on the vehicle, and quite common to see on this age CR-V, someone's removed the original sat-nav unit and put in a radio up there. You know, a Honda one, admittedly. The old sat-navs was probably the biggest weak point of the car. It was made by, I think, Alpine, and you know, it's old technology basically. Most people's iPhones are infinitely better than anything they put into those, and that's the only thing that's been changed. Coming down the dashboard here, again, all nice order. Got a cool box here. Put my hand in there, that's absolutely ice cold air coming out of the air conditioning and into the cool box, and that's all working perfectly. All the buttons here, lovely high quality stuff by Honda, and all working absolutely perfectly. Come across the main instrument binnacle. When they released the 2005 model CR-Vs, they upgraded the interiors of the car, and this new dashboard with the diesel is part of that. All the gauges working exactly as they should. Temperature gauge dead on a third, which is spot on for any Honda car. All the pixelation for all the readouts absolutely spot on. So going to set the cruise control, just make sure it's all working perfectly, which it is. Just set it at 55 miles an hour. Just going to accelerate using the button, and it perfectly, and then slow it down, and that's absolutely fine. It works absolutely perfectly. So pretty much every button I've pressed has worked as exactly say the manufacturer intended on the vehicle. I've got the heated seats here. We'll press those on. I'll leave those on for a second, just make sure they're kicking in. But no, really grand car. You know, the reason they're so sought after is, you know, in a marketplace where, you know, a lot of engines done by rival manufacturers use kind of DPF filters. These don't. They run without them, and much better for it with none of those issues. Right, that seat's heating up nicely there. I'm going to turn it off now because it's too warm for that. Also, the engine has a cam chain, not a belt, so there's no scheduled change for any belt or chain change on them at all. And we've never done one, so you know, and we've had some very high mileage ones. So again, that's a big saving on a lot of rival manufacturers. The biggest thing is it's just the way it drives. It just drives so well. It's a lovely smooth diesel, not like most diesels out there. It just doesn't feel like a diesel at all, in all honesty. Apart from the way it performs, it gives you a lot of low down grunt, but there's hardly any of the diesely kind of noises that come back through. And if I rev the engine there, it's much more sort of petrol like in the way it kind of revs, where you get much more of a kind of a harshness to most diesel engines. You know, likewise also the way the car drives, it is based on the Honda Accord, much more upright obviously, but has a very well controlled suspension, so you're not going to get the lurching that you get with a lot of them. Corners nice and flat relatively compared to most. What's also very clever, of course, is, you know, this four-wheel drive system, there's no switches to turn it on or off. It does it all for you. If you spin your front wheels, classic example would be, you know, if you're towing a caravan, as I do very regularly, sort of 3 or 4 times a year, but you go to some sort of soft grassed area with a bit muddy, put your foot down and the front wheel start to spin, it automatically kicks in the rear wheel drive. It does it you know, through sensors, and it does it brilliantly well. We've never had an issue on the four-wheel drives on the CRVs of any generation. And you know, it's the beauty of it is Honda worked out very quickly that the vast majority of people using four-wheel drive cars were using that four-wheel drive function maybe, you know, 0.01% of the time. So what this car does at this moment in time, it's just running in front-wheel drive, the most efficient way to drive modern cars. That saves on fuel dramatically, but also it saves very much on things like tyre wear, mechanical stress put through the vehicles, and, you know, frictional losses on the back of it. And you know, you know, it does work. It works brilliantly because, you know, the only times you're going to use it, it'll do it for you. It'll turn itself off straight away as well afterwards. And it's just far more reliable, far more efficient than any other four-wheel drive system of its type. So, and it says stood the test of time brilliantly well. Well, that brings to the end of the video. So if I've missed anything out of the video, do apologise. You know, don't hesitate, do give us a call. But based on this test drive, anyone coming to see the car would be absolutely thrilled with the way it drives.